All right, so get this. Just imagine trying to explain something like a 401k to someone way back in ancient Babylon.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they probably think you were some kind of, I don't know, time traveler or something.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But what's really wild to me is that some of their old money advice is still surprisingly, like, relevant.
Uh-huh.
Even like thousands of years later. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We are talking about the richest man in Babylon.
It is, it's fascinating to me how this book, I mean, it was written in the 1920s.
Right.
But it's set in ancient times, and it still, like, really resonates with modern readers.
Oh, wow.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's like they tapped into something fundamental about human nature and how we build wealth.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're about to get into like a dusty old history lesson or something.
No, not at all. It's packed with these really engaging parables, which are basically just stories about, like, everyday Babylonians just trying to figure out their finances.
Right.
You almost forget you're, like, learning about money because you just feel like you're kind of eavesdropping on their lives.
Okay, I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, tell me a little bit more about these Babylonians. Like, were they all just like super rich merchants with just piles and piles of gold everywhere?
Well, actually, the book starts off with these two guys, Bansir and Kobe, and they are anything but rich.
Oh, okay.
They're very skilled, they're hardworking, but they're constantly struggling.
Oh, man, that sounds relatable. Yeah, I've definitely been there a few times.
Yeah.
So what was their secret? How do they turn things around?
So they're sitting there complaining about their lack of money.
Yeah.
And they overhear someone talking about Arkad, who is the richest man in Babylon. And that kind of sparks their curiosity. And they have this realization that it's not enough to just work hard. They need to understand the principles of wealth.
So they basically went looking for a financial guru.
Exactly.
Like a Babylonian Dave Ramsey.
You got it.
Okay.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because Arkad's advice isn't about, like, getting rich quick or magic formulas or anything like that.
Yeah, right.
It's all about just simple, consistent habits.
Okay.
And it starts with this one phrase: a part of all I earn is mine to keep.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that one before. It's like the classic saving, right?
It is.
But wasn't it easier to save back then?
You would think so.
Right. Like no credit cards.
Yeah.
No online shopping tempting you 24/7.
Yeah. You would think so. But the book actually addresses that.
Okay.
In a kind of a clever way, I think.
Okay.
Because back then the temptation was like merchants, like always in your face, trying to get you to spend every last coin.
Gotcha.
So human nature, it's not that different.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So, okay, so how much did this Arkad guy say you should save? Like throw a couple coins in a clay pot every month.
He was very specific, at least 10% of everything you earn.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And this is where I think it gets really interesting.
Okay.
He doesn't just say save it.
Right.
He tells people to repeat that phrase like over and over, like a mantra, like ingrained into your mind.
Interesting. So it's almost like a mental trick to like really prioritize saving?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's about shifting your mindset from I can't afford to save to I must save this 10% before I do anything else.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty powerful, like mental shift.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, saving alone doesn't make you rich. Right?
Right.
So what did they do with all these coins they were saving?
So this is where it gets even more interesting. The Babylonians were surprisingly sophisticated investors.
Wait, really? I mean, what did they invest in back then? Like clay tablet companies?
Think more like livestock, grain, even lending money for interest.
Okay.
But the key principle, and this is what's relevant for us today, is to understand what you're investing in.
So no, like, throwing your money at the latest Babylonian fad.
Exactly.
Because everybody else is.
Nope.
Oh.
Arkad warned against risky ventures.
Oh.
And he always emphasized seeking out expert advice.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's like diversification, due diligence, like not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, you got it.
And like really understanding what you're getting into.
Absolutely.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
But speaking of understanding, How did they even learn about investing back then? Was there like a Babylonian stock exchange?
No, not quite a stock exchange, but the book really highlights knowledge and skill development as really crucial for success.
Yeah.
Arcot actually has this saying about a lean purse having 7 cures.
Okay.
And one of those cures is cultivate thy own powers.
So it's not just about money.
Right.
It's like about self-improvement too.
Absolutely, yeah. It's about recognizing that your earning potential is directly tied to what you know and what skills you have.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, I can't help but shake this feeling that things must have been simpler back then, right? Like no taxes, no student loans.
They actually did have taxes.
Oh, really?
The book mentions that in the context of talking about a strong city needing resources to defend itself.
So even taxes are a timeless concept.
They are.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
But were there any financial challenges that, were unique to the Babylonians, something we wouldn't have to deal with today?
You'd be surprised how many parallels there are.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One that really stands out to me is their emphasis on protecting yourself from misfortune, what they call building walls of protection.
Walls, like literally building walls around their money.
Not quite.
No.
More of a metaphor for financial security.
Okay.
Like back then, the walls protected the city from invaders.
Right.
Today, our walls are things like savings, insurance, reliable investments.
Gotcha.
Safeguards against life's unexpected events.
So it's all about being prepared for whatever life throws at you.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you know what? This actually ties into something the Babylonians seem to really value.
Okay.
Having a home of your own.
Okay, so was that like part of building those walls too?
Yeah, I think so. Owning your own home was seen as this crucial step in creating a solid foundation.
Right.
It was an investment that provided shelter, stability, a sense of pride.
Yeah, that's really interesting because even today owning a home is, I don't know, it's like seen as a major financial milestone.
Yeah, I think it speaks to this deep-seated desire for stability and security, which I think resonates across cultures and time periods.
Yeah, I think you're totally right.
Yeah.
So we've covered saving, investing, self-improvement, even this ancient take on financial security. It's kind of amazing to me how all these ideas from literally thousands of years ago still feel relevant today.
I know, right?
Yeah.
What I think is really striking is that it's not just about getting rich.
Right.
It's about building a solid foundation for a good life.
Right.
A life where you're in control of your finances and prepared for the future.
Yeah, totally. But here's my question. How do you make these, I don't know, these financial lessons like stick?
Right.
It's one thing to read about it.
Yeah.
But how do they actually make it part of like everyday life?
I think that's where the storytelling aspect really comes in.
Okay.
It's not just dry lectures on finance.
Yeah.
There are these compelling narratives that just pull you in and make you think, hey, that could be me.
So it's more like learning from your friends' experiences than reading a textbook.
Exactly. Like there's this one story about this guy, Dabasir, who was once a wealthy camel trader.
Oh, nice.
But he ends up deep in debt.
Oh, no. What happened? Did he invest in the wrong camels?
I guess we'll have to save that story for part 2
of
our deep dive.
Okay, fine. You got me hooked. I can't wait to hear what happens to this Dabasir guy.
Yeah?
But before we move on, I'm curious.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that stood out to you the most so far about the Babylonian approach to money?
For me, I think it's their focus on mindset.
Okay.
It's not just about the mechanics of saving or investing.
Right.
It's about cultivating the right attitude towards wealth. And I think that's something we can all learn from, regardless of our situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, what's been so eye-opening is to see how these ancient principles, like understanding your investments and building these walls of protection, are still so relevant today.
I know. It's amazing.
Right. Who knew the Babylonians were such financial gurus?
Right.
Yeah, this is awesome. All right, so we've only just scratched the surface here.
So make sure you join us for part 2.
For sure.
Where we're going to dig even deeper into the stories and uncover even more financial gems.
Absolutely.
From the richest man in Babylon.
See you then.
All right, see you there.